You know, as they're packing, things are in slow motion and there's some like final dialogue across the screen. And I think it was Katie who said, "We all came here to find out if K-dramas exist in real life." And I'm sure they do. Dog, just say you believe in love. It's just love. 그냥 사랑. The only thing K-dramas add are ridiculous plots, oppa, random car accidents, lots of slow motion, a rich in-law who despises you for being poor, and Subway promotions. What's up, idols? It's Cece Lesson 3. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Netflix is in an era right now. K-pop Demon Hunter, EXO Kitty, Singles Inferno, countless other K-dramas, and now enters their latest, My Korean Boyfriend. This show is about 5 women from Brazil who fly to Korea for love. They're going to visit their Korean boyfriends. I use air quotes for a reason. We'll get into all of that. The way this show is edited had me about to crash out, gasping for air. My face perma-cringed. As someone who's dated in Korea, had a wonderful boyfriend in Korea, spent years in Korea, and is about to go back in April, I have a lot of experience with dating within Korean borders. So I thought this would be an interesting topic to discuss with you guys together. It was actually a channel member on Discord who brought this up. I never heard of this show. Me and Netflix have been fighting for the past few months. Anyway, to that Discord channel member, shout out to you. So in this show, they get all into dating in Korea, what's it like while you're a foreigner, the PG side of things. But if you're interested in some spicy dating in Korea content, check out my Patreon. At this point, we have 100 or more stories there from foreigners dating in Korea. And it's mostly focused on some after-hour activities that they get up to that I cannot put on YouTube for obvious reasons. While we were out, he told me instead of looking for a place of my own, I should just move in with him and save money. At the time, for some reason, part of me took this as an OMG, aw, he sees this long term, and not for the red flag that I see it as now. On this second date, we drank a lot. Admittedly, it clouded my judgment. I also hadn't had sex in like a year at this point, so I figured why not? I let him come to my Airbnb. We didn't waste any time, I won't lie. I had condoms, drinks, food, even some oil. I do give pretty good massages. I started with offering him one, but he hit me with the Uno reverse card and he gave me one instead. His hands were strong and I so appreciated that. He started on my shoulders, but I said I wanted to lay down and he started working his way down my back. The lower he got, the more ... you know. He was straddling me and pressing into my back and I felt a few moans escape. While he was behind me, he started kissing my neck and that made me arch my back. Are they good in bed? What's it like to be with them? All that's on my Patreon and it's linked below in the description. By the way, the notes that I wrote throughout this video as we analyzed this show, I wrote down in real time. So it's kind of funny to me to see how accurate I was about certain outcomes. There wasn't too much that I found shocking about the show, but let's dive right into it. For the show, we open with them each making a wish. Katie, Luani, Camilla, Marina, and Mari. By the way, if I butcher these names a little bit, I'm so sorry. Mari, by the way, got stood up upon landing in Incheon Airport. Her mans ain't even show up. She couldn't even get him on the phone. To me, that scene is very indicative of how unserious this show is. None of them are in actual proper relationships except Marina. The rest of them are literally trying to live a K-drama fantasy, and that's not just me making that up. They literally say it all the time. Even when Mari got stood up at the airport, she says, "Oh my god, it's okay, this happens in K-dramas all the time." Personally, I've never seen a K-drama where a guy who loves his girl stands her up at the airport, but okay.
Okay. Are you okay?
Anyway, that's the premise. 5 women from Brazil fly to Seoul for 1 month for matters of the heart. Camilla is the only one there who doesn't have a man per se. She doesn't have any pre-planned man that she's planning to meet. She's Korean, she speaks Portuguese, she speaks English, and she's been living in Brazil since she was 3. Katie was in Korea before and went on a trip to Busan. On the train ride back, she met a military man. They exchanged numbers and that's what she's been talking with and that's what she's here to see. She too feels like she's living in a real life K-drama. Her man, her boy, is called Jack. For now. Then we have Luani. She met a man named Shiwon on a dating app. She has a daughter and that's a really big deal in their dynamic. They're apparently a couple and he backs out or cancels whenever they're supposed to fly to see each other and meet each other. But she loves him so much. She says she doesn't speak English that well and his English is even worse than hers. Obviously he doesn't speak Portuguese. Obviously she doesn't speak Korean. So what the f are we doing?
What are we doing here? What kind of games we playing?
Their main thing though, communication aside, is the fact that she has a pre-existing daughter, so she doesn't know if his family will accept her. Then we have Mari, the girl who got stood up at the airport. Her boy is Danny, and upon hearing Luani's story about this sketchy dude that is kind of flaky, made her want to call her boy again and try to get in touch with Danny because he didn't show up at the airport. Yeah, homeboy's still not answering his phone.
I hate it here!
Marina is with Suwung. She's the only one actually in a relationship, a normal, healthy relationship. More on them in a second. But she's the palate cleanse this show really, really needed. Meanwhile, Camilla's there congratulating the girls, watching them head out. She's kind of just the mom in the beginning of the show. So Katie is actually the first to go on a date with her mans. He came all the way from Busan to Seoul to see her. He texts her saying, let's go on a date. And y'all, this is when I start to notice one of the main hurdles for me to get through the show without crashing out. The way it's edited just has me so, like, it took a few hours for my face to uncringe after I watched the show yesterday. The way it's edited, it's like it's designed to be a K-drama parody. Jack is her mans. The door opens, music plays. He looks from the floor straight to the camera and stares it down. And I swear I almost turned the TV off.
Turn his TV off, turn his TV off, turn his TV off, turn his...
By the way, these two have nothing in common. She likes spicy food, he doesn't, so she calls him a fake Korean because of it. She likes to go out and party, he doesn't. He's really into active fitness, as you can tell, and she's not. But anyway, he has to go back to Busan after showing her some cherry blossoms, and they end their date. Next to go on a date is Luani. The cringe just keeps coming, y'all, and I'm so sorry. In March or April, I'm assuming it's like March or April because the cherry blossoms are out, and it's sometimes chilly in Korea, okay? And I get it, she's from Brazil, she's probably used to mostly warm weather. So she didn't bring a jacket, she's cold, she's clinging to her mans, he gives her his jacket, how cute and sweet. But the music that plays is what ruins it for me. And by the way, he does this one thing where he is dead wrong. He pulls out a tiny jewelry box and opens it. She's thinking it's a ring or something cute and expensive, but it's earbuds so they can like translate in real time and communicate with each other. So because she's wearing his jacket, he asked her to reach in the pocket and pull out a piece of paper because he wrote down Portuguese lyrics he wanted to sing to her. Then he says, I look forward to the day I'll put a ring on your finger. It'll be soon. They're planning a future together and they love each other so much. They are fully in the K-drama subplot. Like they both keep crying, which I'm not judging them for crying. Crying is a healthy, normal human function. But he's also very irresponsible with money. And they argue about that a lot because she doesn't feel like she trusts him with finances. And she's like, how am I supposed to build a future with someone I can't trust? I'm like, girl, how are you supposed to build a future with someone you can't communicate with? And you're gonna see that they will have communication errors coming up shortly. It causes a pretty major argument. The next date to show up is for Marina. We see a bunch of heart balloons that fill the screen. And this is the couple that's actually in a proper, normal, healthy, functioning relationship. Suwung is there to pick up his girl. She's already met his family. He's learning Portuguese. He's planning to move to Brazil to be with her. His mom even approves of their relationship. So they are on the right track to love and success. And like I said, this show desperately needed them to have any semblance of legitimate love. Without that couple, without Marina and Suwung, this just feels like foreigners who love K-dramas decide to take a trip to Seoul and swipe on Tinder while there. Not really much of a show. So yeah, they have great chemistry. They laugh together naturally. Good vibes, great couple. I honestly have no notes. The first episode ends with Mari going to Dongdaemun. It looks like it's Dongdaemun. And she's there standing around waiting for her man Danny, who stood her up at the airport and wasn't returning her phone calls. And again, the way this show is edited is so problematic to me, I'm sorry. Mari, for some reason, is facing away from the stairs as her boy descends the stairs. He calls her and she turns around in slow motion, and with that, emotional Korean music swells. While Mari is out with Danny, the other girls decide to hit up the club. As you can see, Camilla's not having too much fun though. Throughout the show, I get the vibe that she's very picky. And she's more on a journey of like self-discovery because like I said, she moved from Korea to Brazil when she was 3 years old. I believe she doesn't know her mom and doesn't have a relationship with her mom. And she's very curious about what her mom is like because she knows she's somewhere in Korea, or that's the last place she was. She moves to Brazil with her dad, I think some aunts and uncles, like a large chunk of her family all moved to Brazil together. Which, you know, I love her story. And you do hear about these stories where Koreans are adopted overseas and they return to the homeland, you know, to get a feel for their culture, their identity, their family. But it's like, why are you on a show called My Korean Boyfriend if you, one, don't have a Korean boyfriend, and two, don't seem that interested in finding a Korean boyfriend? I feel like she's kind of there to be the mom, to be the Korean in the room, to be the translator. No sé. Yeah, the title of the show is a little misleading. Only Marina and Luani actually have legit boyfriends. Well, official, technically, for now. And of the two, Luani is clearly the worse off. Homeboy is living in the K-drama do it for the plot nonsense. It's like he's trying to heighten the drama on purpose. Like he's texting her saying, hey, there's something I really wanted to tell you and I wanted to be honest with you, but I couldn't do it. So let's meet tonight so I can tell you more that I need to tell you.
You need to leave.
When they meet up, by the way, they go to Seoul Station at night, which is sketchy. That's the first thing that caught me off guard. I'm like, why would you take that woman to Seoul Station, especially at night? Seoul Station at night is one of the very rare sketchy areas in Seoul. I wouldn't recommend it. It's a bit junky. Unfortunately, there's a lot of homeless people around. It looks like an abandoned town unless you're right in front of the station, which looks nice. Anyway, he meets up with her. He confesses that the reason he's so bad with money is because he was exposed to it as a kid. His parents were bad with money. They were in a lot of debt. Loan sharks came to their house and broke a lot of stuff. So some generational trauma there that he's trying to break. He feels compelled to do well and make money, but it keeps leading to him making bad decisions. One thing that he said that I absolutely hated is he lied to his family and told them that he paid for Luani's trip to Seoul, but she paid for it herself.
The problem is that I think you're a clown, and I think that your behavior is clown behavior.
Also, apparently his family is pretty well off now. He's 35. He doesn't like to ask them for money, but he has no problem getting money from Luani, who has a kid to raise. Make it make sense. Marina is definitely the best off on the show. I can't emphasize that enough. Of the two girls who actually have relationships, she's like the goal, the pinnacle. Bridgerton. She makes the show somewhat credible, but in a way I can kind of appreciate the range of relationship types and the various romantic situations the show covers. It shows you how you can have heaven and hell in Korea. You got the kidder who wants to bang and is nice enough but doesn't take her too seriously, Mari. The casual relationship, nothing's too serious yet though, Katie. Single as fuck, Camilla. I'm about to ruin your life, girl, because I'm crazy, Luani. And then you have the ideal type with Morena, who even got engaged in episode 2. It's only been a year, but homeboy is literally planning to move to Brazil, so I guess when you know, you know. One night, all the girls decide to invite all their men back to their Airbnb. They go to the roof, drink, talk, catch up, hang out. Mari's boy, Danny, brought 2 friends with him. And Katie is hitting it off with one of them. Jack's there. He came up from Busan. He's just sitting on the edge like an unpaid NPC, an extra. She's hitting it off with this boy. I told you, they have nothing in common, and it shows. This night, we get into another reason, just another example of why I don't like Luani's boy, Siwon. Suwon and Morena just got engaged. They're celebrating, they're in a happy mood. Everybody's like, congratulations to the newly engaged couple. Everybody's clapping and cheering. Meanwhile, you got this hater, Siwon, in the corner saying, oh, their engagement ring is so ugly. They have poor taste in ring. Like,
oh, brother, this guy stinks!
You're 35 and you can't afford anything and you're judging the ring he got for his fiance? And then he says he's nervous because Brazilian girls have strange personalities. I'm pretty sure he meant strong. I don't know. But again, the language barrier. Luani is also Brazilian. So she's like, oh, you mean me too? Like, I'm Brazilian. What are you talking about? None of the girls like him, by the way. We see Mari talking to Danny like, yeah, I don't like Luani's boy. We don't like him. Nobody likes him. He eventually stormed off after talking with Camilla in Korean about what he just said and what went down with him and Luani, because he said, I don't like the way she talked to me. And Camilla was explaining, when you explain that to me in Korean, I understand, but in English, that might sound a bit weird. He even started to yell, so she's like, go low, calm it down, tone it down, boy. And he's like, what a joke, before storming out. When I say he's there to ruin your life, girl, I mean that. Run.
Run.
So while Luani and her boy Siwon appears to have called it quits, we catch up with Katie, who wants to meet up with Jack after realizing, I kind of ignored him that night everyone came over and I was talking to Danny's friend most of the night. So they go to the gym because he likes the gym. And again, they really don't have anything in common here. It's a lot of forced conversation. There was this moment where he asked her to cook or if she would cook, and she's like, no, of course not. I don't even know how to cook. And they both agree to just be friends. Like, they're like, we can't force vibes here, right? So they decide kanyang chingu. Then we catch up with Mari and her boy Danny, who decide to meet up and buy matching couple outfits, which is weird because they're not a couple. And he seems to be very careful about keeping some space between them. But Mari really wants this K-drama to be a K-drama. Camilla heads out with Luani, and they sort of talk about Camilla's childhood and her family dynamic. Episode 3 ends with Luani foolishly allowing Siwon to come back to the Airbnb and they can hash out this fight they just had. After she vents how she feels, he says he's the one who should feel bad because he was trying to give her a good time and make her feel comfortable, but she stresses him out every day. And that's when the third strike comes from this man, where we find out he cheated on her with a Turkish girl. But then again, I'm not even remotely surprised. I'm just not.
Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise.
Homeboy was like, we come here and all you want to do is talk about my private life. That's what you do when you're trying to start a relationship with someone and get to know them, is it not? So yeah, Luwani reminds him of this betrayal. You cheated on me with a Turkish girl. And he's like, hey, I thought we agreed to leave that in the past before you came here, remember? We agreed to let that go. I wonder if she cheated on him, if he would be able to agree to just let that go.
No!
Bro, when I tell you I hate this dude.
I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress. I hate the way that you sneak this. If I catch flight, it's gonna be direct.
He's literally like, I don't care how you feel or how you feel I treat you. I care about how you make me feel. Why would you say you need to reconsider this relationship? Bruh, the door.
There's the door. There's the door, bitch!
All the girls hate him too, by the way. Speaking of the other girls, they decide to hit up Hongdae and they do some karaoke. And while they're out, they're like, oh, Luwani should be here. She's missing because it's only the 4 of them. And then they bring up the fact that she wrote a list of pros and cons about their relationship earlier. And obviously everyone's like, clearly the cons outweigh the pro with a guy like Siwon. But I do really appreciate this show for showing a bit of like that manipulating, gaslighting side that can come with these sort of dynamics in Korea. Not even just Korea. People gaslight all over, it's global. But so many people have this idea that every Korean man is like a sweet, romantic, honest gentleman. So I do appreciate this show for showing no. And unfortunately, Luan and Siwon agreed to get back together. Then we jump to Mari being invited to Danny's place and he makes her some pajeon. And while they're talking in his kitchen, he mentions that she's only the second person he brought back to his place, the first being his mother. He doesn't cook for his guy friends. And she's like, oh, well, it's almost like we're in a relationship. If you don't do this for just your friends, do you treat all your friends this way? When I tell you, she's pushing so hard to make him say, okay, you're my girlfriend. Okay, we're a couple. She needs to be like doused with a hose or drink some water because she's thirsty, dehydrated. Danny explains that the reason they haven't kissed yet is because in Korean culture, if you kiss someone, you must date them, which is not true. I've had at least one night out where that's why I don't even dance with guys anymore when I go to Korea. But when I did dance with a guy and he just tried to lean in and kiss me, I didn't even know his name. He didn't ask mine. He just started dancing with me. He just kind of started walking around like, is this okay? And I was like, okay, cool. We can dance. We can do that. That's fine. And then he tried to kiss me. He was in no position to be my man, nor did he ask. So that's a lie. Then we catch up with Camilla, who decides to try some dating apps and she's going to swipe on a bunch and whoever says yes first is who she's going to go on a date with. So she meets up with this guy. They go out to drink makgeolli and have some intestines. They talk about culture in Brazil versus Korea. And honestly, this dude seems like a pretty nice guy. But Camilla seems a bit difficult to talk to. She's not really saying a whole lot. She kind of looks disinterested and a little standoffish, and he's trying hard to keep the conversation flowing and to ask interesting questions and to be good company. I like this dude. He even suggests a second date. He's like, well, next time we meet up, let's go running together. So he's already wanting to see her again. Then we cut to Morena. She's out with her fiance and they're doing some wedding planning stuff. They're talking about a wedding in Brazil, maybe a traditional wedding in Korea. And this episode ends with Morena meeting Suwong's mom again because she has to be the one to tell them they're engaged. He hasn't told her yet. And they're planning to get married within a year because Morena really wants a baby. His mom honestly seems so sweet. Like, she seems like a really nice lady, which is, again, something that's refreshing to see. So mom sits down, she tells Morena she looks cute today, which that is another thing I will say. These women are all quite attractive, like very attractive. And I do feel like if you're a pretty foreigner, the families will be a lot more likely to embrace you because that's one thing. They're like, oh, she's so pretty. And you can brag like, my son's with this really pretty foreigner. Look at how pretty my son's fiance or wife or girlfriend is. You'll see that a few times. Like even later when Luani meets Siwon's mom, she's like, you're so beautiful. Don't cry. You'll ruin your makeup. Your looks really, really matter in Korea. Anyway, we get this really cute moment that actually is the first time in this whole show and the only time in this whole show when I watched all episodes where I actually felt something and I started to cry and I got a little emotional because it was very, very beautiful, very sweet. So Morena wrote a note for Suwong's mom and she wanted Suwong to read it to his mom. And he's like, oh, do you want me to translate it? She's like, no, it's already translated. It's in Korean. I just need you to read it to her. You know, she's like, thank you for raising such a handsome, perfect son for me. When I think about him by my side as my husband and the father to our children, I feel like the luckiest girl in the world. I'm so happy. And the moment that I started to fold is when Suwong reading this note started to cry himself. I'm just like, this relationship wasn't forced in any way. Like they don't have as many awkward close-up angles of them, the corny music, the slow motion turnaround. Like they don't need to do all of that because they're in a genuine relationship. It doesn't need to be forced with editing or theatrics. As he's reading this note, all three of them start to cry. And then Morena gets up and sits next to her mother-in-law. She's like, don't cry, please don't cry. And you know, you do have to feel for his mom. Like his son, with the way stats go, he might be her only child because in Korea, They don't have that many anymore. So to have your son be 30 hours away via plane, not only on the other side of the world, but the other hemisphere as well, is sad. So there was this part in the note where it said, even though we're going to be in different parts of the world, we're still under the same sky and we'll always be together. They'll visit often. It was very, very sweet. Mom fully approves of the union, which is very sweet. The only thing is she says, I wish I could communicate with you, Marina. Like, I don't want my son to always have to translate. So Marina's like, I promise I will learn Korean. I will study hard. And she's like, I also want to be able to talk to my grandkids, so they must learn Korean. She's like, absolutely, that's very important. I want them to speak Portuguese, English, and Korean. He's a good dude. No notes. There was actually a cute moment from like episode 2 or 3 where Marina went to go wear hanboks with her friends, and she always wanted to do this with her boyfriend, her then boyfriend, now fiance, but he didn't want to because he's like, it's cringe and this is like a touristy thing. We don't need to do that. And she hit him with the, oh, if you love your girlfriend, then you'll do this for me. And he's like, you'll have more fun with your girls, but I'll see the pictures later. But he actually did show up in his hanbok, and she was like, oh my God, how touching. Like, he surprised her. I like this dude. I don't think it was right for her to like force him. Like, if you love me, you'll do this. Like, don't be that girl. Anyway, I like them as a couple. I really do. They even went wedding dress shopping, and because her mom's in Brazil, his mom tagged along and helped them pick out dresses because they were going to do a wedding photo shoot. Beautiful and iconic when you see the pictures. Then we jump to Katie, who, since she called things off with Jack, they agreed to be just friends. She's in Korea, so she decides to do some swiping on some apps, and she finds another date. She's hanging out with another guy. They go to get food and drinks together. And he doesn't speak English that well. She doesn't speak Korean that well, so they too use a translator to communicate. I just gotta say this again. How on God's green earth do you expect to form a genuine, normal, healthy relationship with someone if you cannot communicate with them? Communication is one of the most important things of any relationship. It's cute at first and in the beginning, kiki, sure, but that is not going to work out long term. If you are so determined to find a man in Korea, you need to speak Korean. Not only is it respectful to their culture, respectful to their families, it will just make everything so much easier. And these girls seem so into K-dramas that you would think they would know how to speak Korean by now, or at least be better at it. Like, how have you not studied Korean? I'm sorry, I don't get that. Anywho, Mari is on another date with Danny. This time they go to Han River and they go to Banpo Bridge. And if you guys know anything about Banpo Bridge, it is very much a couple location. Like, couples sit there on the right side of the bridge as they watch the fountains show start. And if you're there in the summertime, there's even like a nice little Banpo Bridge market, like a street market. You can get all sorts of food and hear music. And of all the couples in this show, I'm not gonna lie, Danny and Mari are the only ones who actually surprised me, because the way Danny left her at the airport, didn't return her calls, I didn't think he would show any semblance of consideration or caring, but he seems like a pretty good dude who's just not trying to rush things with this girl. Or maybe he's just having fun trying to be with her on TV and he already has a girlfriend. I don't know the lore, but I do respect that he's showing her around. They've gone on several dates at this point. The couple outfits, he brought some friends over. He brought her to his place and cooked her pajon. He took her to this romantic Banpo Bridge couple location. Like, he seems like a really good dude. I actually have a couple vlog from back in like 2018 where me and my then boyfriend were there at Banpo Bridge and the vibes were vibing. There was nice buskers out playing on guitar and singing. It was actually quite beautiful, especially with the fountain lighting show in the background. The only thing that annoys me when I watch Danny and Mari, she wants to kiss him so bad. She wants a kiss from this man more than anything. After they got their couple outfits, they went to get some drinks and she already popoed him. She like kissed him on the cheek and he's like, I don't know, like his reaction is kind of hard to gauge because he doesn't seem like he wants that, but he also doesn't seem like he's totally against it. I don't know. So after they watch the fountain show, they go for a walk by the river and he's like, oh, one thing I love about Seoul is how bright the lights are at night. And you can tell when a girl wants to kiss you when she is turned towards you, facing you, and very close to you, giving you all the time and space you need to make your move. If they're not making their move, they're either extremely shy or they are not interested. Boy's dragging out this tension because like he's like zhuzhing her hair out of her face. He's looking at her really close, hands on her shoulder, and she's like just looking at him, smiling, batting her eyelashes like, please just fucking kiss me. But instead he goes in for a hug and he's like, oh, I'm not hugging you because I'm cold. Like, I want to hug you. And he does give her a kiss on the cheek. And she's like, in Brazilian culture, you know, we're very touchy and affectionate and he won't even kiss me, which that's one of the things with cultural differences, because in Korea, they are a lot more reserved with public displays of affection. If you've ever seen any of my Patreon stories, though, you know that when it's just y'all two one-on-one in private, that's a whole different story.
I feel like round two, I feel like we can go a bit harder. Go harder for round two?
Part of my thinking with Danny and Mari is the fact that she is always out loud verbally expressing, oh my God, this is like a K-drama. Oh my God, this is like a perfect K-drama. She's always saying this out loud in front of Danny. And he's like, yeah, we're like main characters, or we're characters in a K-drama. Part of me wonders if he's trying to fulfill the fantasy and keep things like a K-drama, because that's what she expects. He's talking about K-drama main character energy while they're holding hands walking across the river. It could just be a cultural clash. I don't know, but something's a little off with them. Then we catch up with Luani and her fuckboy. She tells Camilla how she never got to talk to his mom or met his mom. Like, she kind of saw her in the background of like FaceTime, but she really wants to talk to his mom. So she calls the mom but doesn't get an answer. Then she's overthinking, like, maybe she doesn't want to meet me either. And then Luani and Siwon go to Hongdae and decide to see a creepy lady to get the tarot cards read. And this bitch,
I'm in disbelief. This bitch.
She turns to Luani and says, you're the problem. You have trust issues, so you're the problem. And of course, Siwon is already like, I'm the right one. Yup, I knew it. She's the problem, not the man who cheated, not the man constantly having severe financial issues, not the man talking about other people's engagement rings, not the man who only cares about himself. She's the problem. Bro, I tell you, Koreans will protect and defend their own. Episode 5 ends with Siwon's mom agreeing to meet Luani. So yay, I can tell her I have a secret daughter. And now we get to the final episode of the show. Well, the other ones are like people reacting to it, so we're not gonna talk about that here. So to be fair, Siwon's mom seems like an absolute angel. She seems so sweet. So as they're meeting here one-on-one, Luani pulls out the famous earbuds so that she can use them to translate and talk to his mother. And she tells her, like, you can tell she's very nervous. She's like, I have a daughter from a previous relationship and I hope that's not an issue for me to date your son. And the mom is like, no, it's okay. I respect people. I understand. We all have situations we go through in life. Things are unpredictable. If anything, I have a new granddaughter. Very sweet. Oh my God. Who's cutting onions? And you can tell that Luani feels so much better after getting that off her chest, that she's accepted still. She's like, don't cry. You're so beautiful. You don't need to cry. And then Siwon strolls in and he immediately is like, all right, mom, I got to tell you something. She's like, she already told me she has a kid. It's okay. And I'm not going to lie. Part of me wished that Siwon's mom rejected Luani because she has a daughter and refused to accept her into the family, because I think it would make it easier for her to walk away from a very toxic man. A horrible relationship. You're setting yourself up for disappointment and heartache in the future. Most of the time you see her in this show, she is crying. So then we catch up with Camilla, who meets up with that guy that she matched with on Tinder, and they decide to meet up for a quick run. It's pretty cute. And this is when we find out he's like nearly 40, which blew my wig cap off because, oh my God, he looks like a baby in the face. Camilla, he's nearly 40, right? And they were talking about how many past relationships they've had. How do you date in Brazil? How do you date here? He said, since I was 20, I've had about 5 relationships. She's like, that many? You think 5 relationships in 20 years is a lot? I don't really find their story too interesting, honestly. Like with Katie and Camilla, who were just meeting dudes on Tinder and hanging out with them in a show called My Korean Boyfriend. Not really interested. Next, we catch up with Mari and Danny, who head to Namsan Tower. They're looking at the love locks, the infamous love locks. He made this cute joke where he's like, see all the red ones? Yeah, they're mine. I like him. I like Danny. She's still trying to rush this couple thing. She's like, we should do that, but oh, then again, we're not a couple, so I guess we can't. So they decide to finally address the elephant in the room. She asks him shockingly in Korean, like, Danny, what do you want from me? She reminds him she's leaving Korea soon and she doesn't know like where this is going and what this is yet because he hasn't even kissed her. And he says he has feelings for her and that's why this is their 5th date. And he's been trying to be respectful and careful with her, but not wanting to rush anything. But in her mind, she says she doesn't really feel like they're a real couple because he hasn't even kissed her yet. And he asks her, like, are you prepared for how difficult long distance relationships actually are? She wants to kiss him so bad. I know I keep saying this, but like it is just the main takeaway from their dynamic. And as they're watching the sunset, this pissed me off. I don't know why it made me so mad. She says, Danny, there's something I want to do. So she decides to lean in and kiss him. And because they play it in slow motion, you can see it in all its awkward glory, where he kind of pulls back. And it's more like an awkward collision, sort of like their lips just kind of clash. It's not really a kiss. No one really puckered. I don't know. It's weird. And she's like, oh my God, this really feels like a real K-drama. Oh my God, I'm so happy now. And he's like, oh, I can't believe you did that, girl. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I can't help but feel like if the roles were reversed, people would be outraged by something like that. If a guy wanted to kiss a girl and a girl's constantly like, no, I'm not ready. No, I don't want to kiss you. And he just does it anyway. Outrage. Like he made it clear more than a few times that he did not want to kiss her yet. He wasn't ready for that yet, and she just did it anyway. But anyway, he says they'll see each other again, and he promises that they will. Katie and her new guy, Il-sung, they go to that famous like wall, the Seoul City Wall Trail, I think it's called. And then they talk about putting love locks on Namsan Tower. And again, they're only using a translator to communicate, but he has all this nice stuff to say, like, I feel honored to be with you and you're something special. And okay, son. Okay, bro, for real. Later, they all decide to meet for drinks and dinner because it's like the last time they'll all be together before the girls leave for Brazil. And they all update each other on the latest in their relationships. Luani is happy to say, oh my God, Siwon's mom accepts me and my daughter. She has a new granddaughter. Yay, we're gonna work out. And no one likes him, so they're like, oh, super. And then she's like, okay, now you can put a ring right here. I'm ready for the ring. And then Mari awkwardly shares that her and Danny finally had a kiss. And she's like, it was great, right, Danny? He's like, oh yeah, great, yeah. So, you know, everyone's saying their farewells. Morena decides that all these girls are going to be her bridesmaids. Camilla's talking with her baby-faced 40-year-old guy. She hopes all the other girls enjoy their time in Korea. He's like, when you get back to Brazil, DM me. Like, he seems interested in her still. And she starts to cry because she's not ready to leave Korea. So the next day, we see them all packing, getting ready to go. You know, as they're packing, things are in slow motion and there's some like final dialogue across the screen. And I think it was Katie who said, we all came here to find out if K-dramas exist in real life. And I'm sure they do. Dog, just say you believe in love. It's just love. 그냥 사랑. The only thing K-dramas add are ridiculous plots, oppa, random car accidents, lots of slow motion, a rich in-law who despises you for being poor, and subway promotions. Luani reveals she's gonna stay a little bit longer. She's not heading to the airport with them. Siwon's about to pick her up and they're gonna hang out a little bit more in Korea. So we jump ahead 3 months. Everyone's back in Brazil. Morena and Suwon get married. It's wholesome to see that his mom was able to fly down to Brazil to make that trip, to make it for the wedding. You see some of the people from the show, they also went. And it looks like the girls from the show were actually the bridesmaids. That's how the show ends. Now here is my take. First of all, I'm very curious how old these people are because I think that would determine a lot, be very telling. I know the man-child, Siwon, is like 35. I know Camille is like 31, but it's hard to really understand that without putting an age to it. Now, I would guess like mid to late 20s, early 30s, something like that, in that ballpark. I wish it ended with updates, but I'm assuming they're leaving the door open for like a potential season 2. Please don't give us a season 2. Please don't do that. I know girls all over the world dream of being in a K-drama fantasy. None of this show really surprised me. I do wonder how Koreans feel about that because it's one thing to like have this internal thought like, oh, I just want to live a K-drama, but to say it out loud to a Korean guy you're on a date with, I wonder how they feel about that. Like Mari kept saying that in front of Danny. He's like, yeah, we're K-drama main characters. Like, I don't know how I would feel as an American if someone met me and had certain expectations about my behavior. I remember last year, me and Gia went to a speakeasy in Gangnam. It was actually a really chill spot. I'm definitely going back there soon. But these two goons swayed over to us and asked where we were from. We said we're American. They're like, oh, so you must love Trump. Sir, you got me all the way fucked up. I spent the last decade voting against this man. I never felt so offended in all my life. Do not mistake me for one of them supporters. And it actually ruined our night. Me and Gia were sitting there like 2028 is a long way away. And like I said, I do really appreciate the show having like a wide range of various types of relationships and stages in different relationships. 5 very different love scenarios. It was really nice to see parents embracing foreign daughters-in-laws. Which one is the right way? Especially since these types of relationships are becoming more common in general. That's just the way things are trending. But there was definitely so much cringe. And like I said, there were many times where it took everything I had to not turn the TV off. Whoever edited this show, I hate you. It was a reality show edited like a scripted K-drama. It was hard to watch sometimes because, like I said, it legitimately felt like a parody or satire. And it was hard to not laugh at sometimes. But then part of me gets sad because I know there are so many girls who watch this with like a serious heart, who wanted this to be them. They want that to happen to them. They want that experience as well. And they want their life to be a scripted K-drama. I too felt that way when I was 21. 21? But I was 21. These are women. Like I said, I'm gonna guess mid to late 20s, early 30s. And honestly, living in Korea snapped me out of that real quick. Took me 5 months to be like, oh, K-dramas are just TV. It's not at all real.
Oh, I made a mistake.
Don't get me wrong, love is very, very real. There are beautiful love stories that happen everywhere, every day. Romance, compassion, connection, all these good feels. Love is real and you don't need it to be a K-drama. And I get it, TV sells us fantasies all the time. I spent Valentine's weekend watching Bridgerton after I was reading a Patreon story time, and it reminded me, oh shit, I never watched like season 4, part 1 of Bridgerton. Let me catch up on that. And you know, after watching these shows, it's like idyllic, fantastical romance, you know, that's just not real. But we are sold this, and then we want it in real life, and we're disappointed when others don't compare to fiction. But yeah, I know at the end of the day, we just want romance. We want to be loved. And it makes me sad that people think it'll happen that way, and that's just TV. Like I said, this show shows the good. Oh my God, someone got married. And the bad. Oh my God, he's like a total manipulative, gaslighting F-boy.
Boy, if you don't get the fuck out my face.
So yeah, I don't want to ramble too much. That's my thoughts on Netflix's My Korean Boyfriend. Let me know how you guys feel about this one in the comments. If you watch this, if you're gonna watch this, if you couldn't finish it, let me know. I want to hear it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Annyeong!